One of my favorite tools that is made by Creative Grids are our 2.5-inch wide rectangles. They come in a 12.5 and an 18.5 inch length. These rulers have features that you've probably never thought of to use, and today I'm going to show you how to use some of them to their best potential. My favorite feature is the white line that goes down the center of the ruler horizontally and vertically, and this little circle is the exact center of the rectangle. I'm using that feature today to show you how you can do a piano key border quickly and easily, and out of one jelly roll that has 42.5 inch strips, you can do 360 inches of a piano key border, which is what I used in the log cabin quilt that you saw in the beginning. It is a great way to use up scraps, and this goes together so quickly you won't believe how easy it is. So let me show you how it works. Jelly rolls are 2.5 inch strips that are pre-cut to the 40-inch width of the fabric. So you take 2 of these strips, put them right sides together, and in this case I use batik, so it doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong side, and I'm going to sew a scant 1/4 inch on each side of this to form a tube. The entire length, 40 inches of the fabric, from salvage to salvage. Here is a piece that I have sewn. You can see my 1/4 inch seam allowance here and here, so I have a tube that is the entire width of the fabric. And in the log cabin quilt, the blocks finish to 6 inches. And so this is the log cabin block right here. Since this is 6 inches, I wanted to cut my strips to 6 inches so that they would finish the same size as the blocks, so the border would look proportional. Since this is 40 inches wide, I can take my 6.5 inch log cabin trim tool that I use to make my 6 inch blocks and literally use it to cut this into segments so that I have them the exact same width. Now if I have another ruler, I could pull it out and do the 6.5 inches, but I don't want to take the time to do that when I have one on my mat that I've already paid for. So I'm just going to use the dash lines on here to square up the top, and I'm trimming off the salvage and where it wasn't even on the end. I know that this ruler is 6.5 inches wide, so I'm going to be able to get 6.5 inch wide tubes out of the width of the fabric. So I'm just going to take my rotary cutter and cut off the scrap, and then I am left-handed, so you would be going in the opposite direction, but see how I'm doing these tubes? And I'm going to move it again. I keep the dash line here just to keep it square. And now I have 6 tubes that are 6.5 inches long and 2.5 inches wide. Now I take that white line that goes vertically down my ruler, and I'm going to cut each one of these in half. Now normally I just stack them on top of each other and I'll cut 4 at a time. So I'm taking that white line, putting it on the outside edge, which means that this is going to be a 1.25 inch wide strip, so both sections are going to be the exact same width. So I'm going to take my rotary cutter, cut each one of them in half, and I have a little glitch in my blade right there. And when I open these, every tube is going to give me 4 sets of 2. I'm going to press these seams open, and I'll show you right here. Out of each tube, I'm going to end up with 4 of these. I press the seams open because if I don't press them open, I press them all to the side, it tends to shrink up a little bit and I don't get my full true measurement out of this. So this goes together so quickly because now I'm just going to put these right sides together and sew my sets of 2 together, which will give me a set of 4. Then I'm going to take 2 sets of 4 together, and that gives me a set of 8, and it builds very quickly because then I'll be sewing sets of 16, sets of 32, sets of 64, and out of 2 2.5 inch strips, I am going to get 18 inches of 3/4 inch wide strips. So in this case, out of a jelly roll and using a 6.5 inch border, which is the most common border size in a quilt, I'm going to end up with 360 inches of piano key border out of one jelly roll. Now, a lot of times there are throws, and I want to make them into a twin size quilt, so I can take the scraps left over and create this and do a scrappy border like I did on the log cabin quilt, so I can throw in other fabrics if I need to complete that and turn a throw into a larger size bed quilt very easily. So I hope you love this technique. Give it a try. It's also a great way I can split this. This is 18 inches, so it can be the top and bottom of a placemat. So there's all kinds of things you can do with this, and it goes together much faster than you would ever dream.